again. Busy making a mess, so I thought I'd do a little video while I was doing some little bits of work. Back on the Baywindow, the T2, I'm waiting for a roof cut for this one. Well, it's been a few weeks because I've had some things at home that have kind of got in the way of doing this. Honestly, it's been sorted now, so I'm getting a bit more time back in the unit. I'm waiting for a roof cut, which has been identified. Hopefully local. If not, there's another one that I can get delivered. So obviously last time I did a bit more kind of investigation into it, and it's had a dodgy repair at some point. Anyway, regardless, waiting for a new front roof section, and then we'll do the front panel and the crash bar, lower valance, whatever you want to call it, in a new front panel windscreen, and that's the front end buttoned up. And then we'll do the gutters and all the usual stuff. Fairly easy in the grand scheme of things, so not too big of a worry. Some repairs on the A-pillar, some repairs on the steps and the sides. Actually, the steps are pretty solid, it's just the arch. So start to do a little bit of investigation into the state of these. No, it's not too bad. I do have full replacement steps, and arches, so I'm not too worried. Infill panels the same, and we've been through this, but anyway. Once I get some more pieces of equipment, we'll probably go through these. I'm actually considering just getting a spot welder because it's faster and more factory. So if I do pick one up second hand, then we'll blast through this with a spot welder. If not, then we'll just plug weld it, put weld it, you know, the usual kind of stuff. Excuse my mess, but what I'm doing at the minute is I am starting to get ready to do some repairs on this rear arch section here. Don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. There's a bit more rust and rot there. I could convert that and leave it, but at this point, if I'm cutting it out anyway, an extra 30 mil doesn't really make a difference, I don't think. I was just going to do a patch there and a patch on the arch, and I still might, but I'm actually thinking about extending this a little bit to get back to the good metal up, and then just do that in an entire section. I don't know if you can see there. You can see that line there. Someone's previously put a lower section on. There's a bit of a gap there where the weld isn't quite flush, but it looks like a previous repair in here somewhere. I would hazard a guess it's about there to there. But you know, 40 years old and all that. There was a bit of rot there, but that's just surface. That's cleaned up. We'll just prime that. Put a section behind there as well, just because that's knackered. Yeah, so we'll get the wheel off, just to give ourselves a bit more room, really, more than anything. Yeah, and we'll dig into it. We'll see how we get on, and we'll do a patch panel with the new one, with the new panel. Like I say, if we end up taking this section out, then I'll show you how I would kind of mark it up and do it. I mean, there's plenty of videos on YouTube about how to do it, but it's always nice to see, isn't it? So yeah, we'll get going. Bits and pieces. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this isn't original, but we'll just measure off there anyway. So yeah, I mean, if you took like a 50 mil section, it would take us up to here. So 50 mil tall from the bottom of the arch. On the new section, now that's rolled a bit, so that isn't actually that's flat, but we can sort that out. And then what length are we looking at? Yeah, so we're like 220 to the start of the curve, really, here where the arch starts curving down. And then from where the arch starts curving, we're probably looking at 80-90 mil. I do need to fill that gap in as well. But there's a lot of foam behind that I haven't got out yet, so obviously I can't really weld. Into that. I'll have to double check. Yeah, it doesn't seem to. I'll double check behind as well to make sure there's no foam behind that can catch fire. So yeah, okay. Ooh, crusty. Yeah, probably time lapse that. So I was just getting kind of a rough measurement of where I need to be. So if I'm looking for around 50 mil of overall height of this section, not really taking into account the curve. So I put some verniers on, set it to like 45, 50 and scribed across. And what I'll do is I'll do the same in reverse on the other panel. I'll probably cut the other panel first, lay it up against here to see where to compare the two, to make sure that I'm not miles out, basically. And then I can cut this and then fettle the panel and the gap, so we can get a nice tight butt into the panel so it all sits flush. Obviously I don't quite know what's behind here yet, but we'll soon find that out. So what I might do is I might lay that out first so that we know where we are, and then we can make that to fit, or manufacture that panel to fit. I know that's a waste of a panel really, but I do have a section I can cut out for there if I want to. I've got an entire rear section if I need it at any point in the future, or if I do another van or anything like that. I do have, you know, it's not going to hurt to have bits of sheet metal kicking around. So let's do some laying out on there, and I'll show you how I do it fairly easily just to get started. I don't think there's nothing in this job that's expensive tooling wise. It's just that's a bit more expensive than a normal grinder, but it's just, you know, it's just a cordless grinder. I've got a little cheap wired grinder. I think this was from B&Q. It's not expensive. You don't need an impact wrench, obviously. You don't need a Milwaukee impact wrench. You can get yourself a decent little set of calipers and a decent little kind of steel rule for a couple of quid. Sharpie, obviously, Milwaukee, Sharpie, whatever you want. And the only other thing that I'll use, which is a bit kind of specialist, is the dicam, whatever you want to call it. And that's just a layout fluid. So what that does is, well, we'll show you. It basically covers the raw metal, and then you can scribe on your layout lines or your cut lines, or whatever you want to call it, and then cut it out so you can see where you're going, and you don't have to, you know, it's kind of a permanent guide, if you like. So yeah, I'll show you that. ignore the TIG welders and stuff, we're not using them. So for a panel like this, this is a replacement part from Heritage Car Parts, I think. I don't quite remember. Just Campers and Heritage are where I got all the car parts, the panels from. So it's there or thereabouts, you know, it's that kind of place. Panels for this, incidentally, aren't expensive. So if you choose a relatively up and together camper to do this on, or if yours has got a little bit of an issue or a little bit that needs doing, then the panels themselves are cheap. I mean, I think that entire arch was something like maybe 80 quid, 70 quid. It's not bad. Some of them are expensive. The complete steps are expensive. Front panels are quite expensive. And obviously, if you want to put an entire roof on, A, you're probably a maniac, and B, that's like, you know, a couple of £1,000, which is a lot, isn't it, for what's essentially a little bit of metal. But anyway, so yeah, this is die cam. And you just literally brush it on to where you need to put your marks. Probably should have scuffed this up a bit, but a bit, not to worry. Well, for some reason that's not working. So what we'll do, let's take that off, and we'll just measure it and draw it on. Makes no difference. It's annoying though. Hang on. See, it sits on there. So why is it not sitting on that? Is it galvanized, coated or something? Should that matter? Any die cam experts in the chat? Not to worry. Right, we'll do it this way then. Measure and stick. So we said roughly from where the curve started was, let's come back to where the curve starts, roughly .210. So back to where the curve starts. Now this has got a different wheel arch profile, so we need to be a bit careful, but like I said, once we've made the cut, we can trim this to suit as long as we get rid of the bits we're going to get rid of. So it doesn't really matter. You're just trying to get it as accurate as possible because it's less work in the long run. So huge comedy coffee cup from America, obviously. Right. So let's go for the 50. I mean, I'm using the end of this body line as a reference, really. So that can get, you know, tapped up, and we can push that back into place. We can panel beat that up so it matches. So if we say 210, where it starts to curve, about there, and then how far around do we think that is? About 75 on the turn. from the start of the curve. And take the start of the curve to be about there. 75. Probably about here. What I obviously don't want to do is cut this too short to that cut, because I want to take the bad bit out of there and go back. It's going to be difficult to hold this up. Somebody's put a massive jack in the way. We assume that's the start of the curve, we can bring it back to there, right? And then do we go for here, and then we can trim to suit. About there, about there. See, that's the start of the curve, and measure off from there again. Measure off. Yeah, 200, 210. Tempted to maybe even now. Let's stick with that. What do we have on the turn? Like a 90. Yeah, so we should be about here on the panel once this is cut. And again, we kind of did the 50 to there, so I can use the calipers to put a starting mark in, and then I can fill the gap in, fill the gap. So we're about 50, not exact, it doesn't need to be. And obviously, because this isn't square, we might be a bit low. This is where the diagram would have shown that skull. But it doesn't really matter, obviously. Okay, so we can take that over. And again, the 50. Gonna be about there. Something a bit like that. So I know that seems like a waste of that section of panel from the entire panel, but because the van is all right, I had kind of budgeted to do the entire panel. It doesn't really make sense. Well, it doesn't really make sense for that amount of welding and that amount of cutting and welding to do seam there, seam across there, seam down there, seam across there. So yeah, we'll go for this. We'll go for this one first, and we'll chop that out. Well, we'll chop that out. We'll do the panel first, and then we will put it up onto there, mark off roughly where you want to cut, and then we'll trim this out, and then we'll fettle the panel to fit the gap, but we should be pretty close. Safety squints, safety squints. Where, oh where art thou glasses? There's one. Why are they both over here? It makes no sense. Right, so safety squints, a little grinder. Oh, it's not that little, to be honest. Little grinder with a cutting disc, not a grinding disc. A little slitting disc, cutting disc, whatever you want to call it. This is a 1mm, so quite a fine cut. Yeah, keep anything you don't want cutting out the way, basically. So yeah, we'll cut this out, trim it as best we can, and yeah, we'll put it up there and we'll see how we get on. Got to turn it on first, otherwise it doesn't work. And we'll try that again. So literally, I'm just going to pick a line. I'll let the tool do the work, really. Cut it up, same across. This will take a bit of effort around the sides, and then the same again back down here. So yeah, that's all there is to it. Nothing to be scared of, it's only metal. So I let the blade sit in there and pull itself along, because then at least I know it's square to itself. So you don't want to be fighting it to try and get it to, you know, once you've chosen your kind of line, it's easy just to stick with it and let the tool do it. Obviously, if you're miles off, then you need to come back out and start again. But if you're close enough, just leave it in. You don't want to be fighting with it. These things do shatter. You don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of walk it around on that turn, and then this is flat. This will lose a lot of rigidity once this is out, because of the fold, you know, the shrinking and the stretching of the radius puts a lot of strength into that panel. You can do this in a couple of ways. I'm just trying to make my life a bit easier, to be honest. So I don't think that's very happy because I was twisting it around. So I think that might actually be... Hold on. Not cutting particularly well. mean, these are just cheap blades, right? Cheap discs from eBay, Amazon, wherever. Don't put your fingers anywhere near the switch when you're changing blades. Discs, I don't know why I call them blades. Discs. Honestly. Right, let's try this big cut again. Make sure you've got, you know, normal kind of angle grindery stuff. Make sure that the cable isn't there and all the rest of it. You don't want to be blowing yourself to bits, do you? And that there is the start of our patch panel. And actually it isn't too far away. I gave myself a little bit extra on the edge, and I gave myself quite a bit more on this side, as you can see there, to cover if we need to extend that cut or if we can trim that one back. And there's a bit of space at the top. So what we can do is dress this off so it's not quite as nasty and sharp. And then if we get this in a position, we can do a mark around it. We'll take a little bit off, fit it up, do it again, you know, and we'll just trim this, and we'll trim this, just little by little, small adjustments, because you can't add anything to that now, really, not very easily anyway, and we can't really add anything to this. So if we do a catastrophic cut and we end up taking 10-15 mil past where we should do, then we're going to have to make another 10 or 15 mil slice in there. So we'll dress this, level it all off just with a flap disc, and then we'll kind of see where we end up. So and also bearing in mind, of course, we don't know what's under here yet, so we might need to do a bit more, something a bit more invasive, but we'll see.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders, now we ain't out in movie.
Rightio. So all I really did there was take off the bird edges and flap it down a bit just to straighten it out. It wasn't you know, it was a pretty straight cut anyway. Fairly happy with it. And then I just kind of buffed the edge off there because we're all going to be welding that eventually anyway. So it, you know, if I can get some good clean metal on there as references or as, you know, ready to use for a spot, then I mean, I'm kind of saving myself a bit of work anyway. So there we kind of have it, really. So what we can do, we can get the mark here. So that cut really is probably, by the time this is in, I'd say that's about there. You follow the line of the arch around, if we're relatively happy with that. So what we've got is roughly a panel that size. So we can either trim this down or we can cut this out. Bear in mind, we don't know how far that one goes yet. So what I'm tempted to do is to cut here out and then we can fit that up. Whether it's another cut and a cut and a little cut. And then we can sand back to match up. So
never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest. There ain't no way I'm ever stopping.
I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top,
I'm always flirting with pain. She like to hurt me and make.
So I've tried to put the curve in as best I could with the grinder. Obviously we can fettle it. Fettle it, you know, we can blend it and grind it to suit the curve we have here. We can match them both up. I know I'm still a way short on that size, but I did that on purpose because that's not particularly straight radius. You're not going to get, I'm probably not going to get much of a straight radius with either of these, so we can grind that down to suit. It's not a million miles away from coming off, so.
never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest. There ain't no way I'm ever stopping.
I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. If you can get in there, you can peel it back a little bit. There's actually a lot of strength in there. Like I was saying, there's a lot of strength in the curve because of the way sheet metal works. We put that foam in, so it's still quite a sturdy piece to break out. You don't really want to be putting your hands in there because that's all sharp metal. So inner lip is a bit rusty, so we're probably going to have to do a repair patch in here as well. No big deal. And looks like is that a drain vent or something? Don't know what that is. interesting. So what is good news is this is all good metal here, and there's a bit of good metal in there, so I'll flap this out, see how bad that is. Probably have to put a patch in there and a patch in there, but I think the rest of it, by the time we extend that cut down, I might leave that side. By the time we extend that cut down, we shouldn't be too far off there. Yeah, I might do this one in a couple of parts because it's kind of real time. Although I've probably sped some up in the edit just to show that it's, you know, how long it takes, and that's not rocket science really. So I think I will extend that cut to there so I can see what's in here. Looks alright actually. In fact, yeah, okay. So that's essentially surface corrosion there. Obviously that isn't. And that is this panel spot welded to the inner arch. So we need to repair this, and put a new one of these on. Easy. I'll work on getting this off, and I think I'll bring it back when it's all done, because it's just more of the same. It's, you know, cutting, grinding, maybe some drilling. Do have a spot weld drill bit, or spot weld drill bits, which basically is a bit of a cross between the cutter and a bit and the drill bit really. So I'll show you this one so you can see the point. Hopefully you can see the point there. So you can center pop the spot weld. So if you had one open like here, you can center punch that, give that something to locate into, and the angle of that drill bit basically cuts out the spot weld, and you can prise it apart. Probably gonna have to go underneath to get the spot welds on this, and yeah, nobody wants to see that, so I'll bring you back in a bit. If this becomes the end of this video, because it's gone on for a bit too long, I'll do another in the next day or so, which has the patch panel being fettled and fit up, and spot welded in. So at least we can get, you know, it might be a little bit of a how-to for someone. Someone might find it useful in the world of YouTube. Put this on, we'll fit that up, we'll weld it up. I'll show you all the prep, because you really need to prime all of this as well. Something like that, weld through primer. Obviously U-Pol, this is good stuff. So if anybody needs to see how to patch this, let me know. I can always add that in as well. If not, then this will probably be patched and filled by the time we come back to the next one. And yeah, so we'll go for the fit up. I'll take you through that, because that's grinding, fit up, you know, check where your points are, check it again, and then when it comes to the welding in, I'm not an expert by any means, and it's only a cheap little MIG machine, so we'll do some thin body work with that. The TIG is for more specialist stuff. We'll do bits of subsea equipment and aluminium bits and pieces like that. We'll just make this in. So yeah, I might use some gas actually, I need to check. So yeah, so next time we'll go through the panel and we'll fit it all up, and yeah, we'll just keep going, and hopefully in the next episode after that, we should be onto the roof, which is the big repair. And then we'll do, once the roof's up and together, we'll do the front panel, front section. We'll come back, we'll do all the window frames, the gutters and stuff, and then it's on the paint and mechanical work. So, you know, that kind of stuff. We'll go through that. And to be honest, she's not far off, he says. So yeah, happy days. Yeah, see you on the next one. Cheers, bye.